that was the biggest thing, but there are so many other benefits that I've seen after starting the carnivore diet. There's a picture that I can send you if you want to include it in the podcast. My followers are probably sick of seeing it at this point because it's just it's the best example I have of, I believe it was taken in 2020 or early 2021, of what my skin looked like at the end of me being vegan. I would say 5 to 10 years older than I do now. So I would say anti-aging benefits, that's been the second biggest benefit that I've had, but also mental clarity, focus. My mental health has improved immensely. I was never diagnosed with depression, but for the entire time that I was vegan, I felt so low on a daily basis. My self-esteem wasn't good, so that's completely changed. My hair, skin, and well, I've mentioned skin already, but my hair and nails also improved. I used to have really bad nail ridges. I no longer get those in my nails anymore. My nails rarely break. My hair got thicker. I've had better energy when I do work out. But I also, as I did mention earlier on, I had a history of like having bad body image issues and like over exercising and whatnot when I was younger. So I've been able to completely heal myself as well from those issues. Like I don't think those things don't really I don't think about them anymore. So I can't the benefits cannot be understated. There have been so many. There's probably more that I'm not even thinking of.
Hi everyone, welcome to another podcast. Today we have Josie. She has been vegan for 14 years, but now she's on carnivore diet, and her Instagram is the eggplant eater, which got my attention a lot because I think we all can learn a lot with her story. So Josie, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited.
Awesome. So, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was vegan for 14 years. I became vegan at the age of, or I like to say now, the naive age of 13. And I am somebody who sticks to something once I start it. So I was vegan after that for 14 years. I ate the standard American diet growing up. My parents weren't very health conscious. So my introduction to being even aware of health was in my health class when we watched Super Size Me when I was around 11. And that was when it kind of dawned on me that my food choices really made an impact on my health. Fast forward a few years, I went through some body image issues and I went through a little bit of an ED. I don't want to get you demonetized or anything, so I'll say that. And right after I started recovering from this, I remember I was at a concert and uh, I came across like a PETA tent, and they were giving out flyers talking about veganism and vegetarianism. And I would say at a very impressionable time in my life. And I went home and watched the documentary Earthlings that night, and I was sold. I always loved animals. I really believed that veganism was good for my health at the time, and I believe that it was the best for the planet. So, yeah, I stuck with being vegan for 14 years. I tried out a bunch of different ways of doing the vegan diet. I tried like the raw till 4 diet. I tried the raw food diet. I tried fruitarianism. I tried like a whole foods diet. Ironically, in the end, the only thing that really ended up satisfying me was including meat substitutes in my diet, which in retrospect makes sense to me now because my body was craving the real thing so badly. So in 2021, that was when I stopped. I had while vegan, I had gotten diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So just a brief overview: I was having blood in my stool, having diarrhea 20 plus times a day. Uh, I was getting severe deficiencies because I could no longer eat anywhere near the amount I needed to sustain myself. So that was a pretty big health issue that I did have. And I was essentially in 2021 going back into another pretty bad flare. And I was desperate, so I finally decided that animal products were the one thing I had not tried in 14 years to see if it could help my autoimmune disorder. And I was surprised when I did try just bone broth to begin with, because I thought that was the most benign thing I could have, that it helped immediately. And, the rest is history from there. I slowly re-included all animal products back into my diet and eventually ended up doing the carnivore diet because I found that it helped my autoimmune disorder immensely.
Wow, that's amazing. So how many years ago did you start this carnivore diet?
About 3.5 years.
About 3.5 years. Wow. So the bone broth was the first one that you started because maybe it was the easiest one to get back into meat.
Yeah, that's correct. I thought my logic basically was if I'm not meant to eat animal products, when I have this, it either won't help or I'll have negative side effects. But I saw the opposite right from the beginning. So I thought it was like the most harmless thing I could have going into it.
Wow. And did you like what made you realize that maybe was the lack of animal food or like have you did you see some things online or what made you do this change?
There were a few family members throughout the years, especially once I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, who reached out to me and said, "You really should consider having animal products again. You're not getting any collagen, like this isn't helping your tissues." And at the time, I just wasn't ready to hear that. But, obviously hearing them say those things stuck in the back of my mind. And then I believe it was in 2021, probably right before I did stop being vegan. I remember I was reading a book, and I can't remember what book it was at this point, but the author had previously been a vegetarian, and he had said that he realized that it wasn't good for his tissues, like literally something I like the exact thing I needed to hear at that point. And that was also, I think, the perspective of a person who previously had been vegetarian. Seeing that person say that also gave me confidence to just get myself to the point where I was comfortable having animal products again. So it was both of those things.
Wow. And so and you say that you already start to feel difference like at the beginning that you tried the animal food?
Right away, when I reincorporated bone broth into my diet, it wasn't like this crazy, miraculous change, but I noticed my skin seemed to become a little bit more vibrant. I did notice my digestive issues were beginning to ease. Nothing crazy, but it was enough of like a push in the right direction to know that it was the right thing for me to do at that point. So after that, I did have eggs and fish, and then I continually saw improvements up to having beef again, which took me a full 6 months to be comfortable doing that.
Wow, that's impressive. Um, I've heard from a friend of mine as well that was not eating meat. He was also vegan, and apart from some small issues that he was developing, he also mentioned about these diarrheas that he was having, like just like yeah, he was having like a kind of diarrheas constantly, and I think as soon as he started to eat meat, it just disappeared.
Yeah, I I think when I tell my story now, vegans always think I'm exaggerating, or the classic thing they say is that I did it wrong, but whatever. I don't remember having normal digestion for that entire 14 years. So my digestive issues didn't escalate until I had been vegan for about 10 years when I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. But I remember constantly either being constipated or having diarrhea. I don't remember it ever being normal for that entire 14 years. So that should have been a wake up call, but it wasn't for, until it got to the breaking point.
Yeah, because I think like when we are young, we don't feel the damage, or the, like yeah, we don't feel too much. The body manages to work in whatever is the type of fuel that we are putting into your bodies. But then I think, of course, in a long time, it shows off, and I think that that was your case. Um, So, what else did you notice that got better in in your health?
So, with reincorporating animal products into my diet and then a few months later fully starting the carnivore diet, I did see all of my ulcerative colitis symptoms finally go into remission. I had, it's kind of TMI, but I had a normal stool for the first time since I became vegan, which was crazy. So that was the biggest thing, but there are so many other benefits that I've seen after starting the carnivore diet. There's a picture that I can send you if you want to include it in the podcast. My followers are probably sick of seeing it at this point because it's the best example I have of, I believe it was taken in 2020 or early 2021, of what my skin looked like at the end of me being vegan. I would say 5 to 10 years older than I do now. So I would say anti-aging benefits, that's been the second biggest benefit that I've had, but also mental clarity, focus. My mental health has improved immensely. I was never diagnosed with depression, but for the entire time that I was vegan, I felt so low on a daily basis. My self-esteem wasn't good, so that's completely changed. My hair, skin, and well, I'd mentioned skin already, but my hair and nails also improved. I used to have really bad nail ridges. I no longer get those in my nails anymore. My nails rarely break. My hair got thicker. I've had better energy when I do work out. But I also, as I did mention earlier on, I had a history of like having bad body image issues and like over exercising and whatnot when I was younger. So I've been able to completely heal myself as well from those issues. Like I don't think those things don't really I don't think about them anymore. So I can't the benefits cannot be understated. There have been so many. There's probably more that I'm not even thinking of.
Yeah, sometimes we just start to get some like benefits that didn't we didn't expect to have, or that we didn't even realize that we were no that we were having an issue, or I don't know. I just realized with myself, I've been only like 100 days now on this carnivore diet.
Nice.
I had a period in my life where I was like a kind of vegetarian. Um, yeah, but not as long as you. But yeah, I just can see a lot of benefits already in only 100 days, and that's why I had to start this podcast as well to talk more people. Um, but what about like your social life? Because I think like it's difficult sometimes when we have a lot of friends that maybe are more vegan or vegetarians, and then like how do you deal with that?
I luckily am blessed with a few really good friends. They have my best friends have been very accepting and accommodating. Not that I'm not in any way like a diva when it comes to how I eat. Whenever we're going out to eat or anything along those lines, I'm always like, I will find something to eat. Like, don't worry about me. We can do whatever like you want to do. But they're very, very accommodating. Like they always take that into account when we're going out to eat. So we get a lot of hot pot. Hot pot is my favorite. Uh, Other than that, so my fiance also did start this way of eating when I did, and he has not fully done carnivore, or he has on and off. He's always included rice because he actually lost too much weight when we did first start this way of eating. So he's actually, after watching the animal documentary, he has gone back to carnivore because he did notice it seemed like the carbs were having a negative effect on him. So he's been doing this with me, and I think that's also made it so much easier. Because if your partner isn't eating the way that you are and is constantly nagging you to eat what they're eating, that would make it so much harder. So I've been blessed in that way. Other than that, I do work full time, so navigating things like like I did recently start a new job, having to tell my coworkers, I don't really eat a lot of these things most people eat, and it's really not to be any type of way. Like the reason I give them is because I have an autoimmune disorder. So I think that I haven't gotten a lot of flack in my personal life because of that. And it is just the truth. Like, people might see it as an excuse, but it's the truth. Like, I eat this way because of my autoimmune disorder. But my coworkers as well, super accepting and accommodating. I mean, like, my birthday was early June. So they were like, well, what can we get you that you can eat? So I didn't full on want to be like a steak because that would have just been too weird. So I said, like, if you want to get like fruit, like, I'll have that. So it's a very rare occasion that I have fruit, but my coworkers were nice enough to make like a big fruit salad, so I had a little bit. But yeah, super accommodating that way. I have had people as well that I know express concern due to the cholesterol and the potential, negative health side effects of in that type of a way. But nobody's been downright rude, so it's been pretty easy for me. But I would say there is a lot of navigating that I still have to do with, going out to eat, social functions. I do have to put a little bit more time into thinking about those things because I can't just go pick up anything at the store to bring to like a function. So it definitely it hasn't necessarily been easy, but it's something that I have learned to deal with because this way of eating has benefited me so much.
Amazing. And just for curiosity, like, what your coworkers were eating at that time, like when they bought you a fruit salad? Like,
I mean, for almost everyone's birthday, they get cakes, donuts. They get donuts a lot. Uh, and things like that, like cupcakes and stuff. Some of my coworkers did have the fruit salad. But yeah, mostly like stuff like that.
it's good to know because I mean, I think I was already expecting these answers just because it reminds me my times when I was doing some office works or corporative works, um, where I always had access to this kind of things around the offices. And normally I would eat sometimes, or if I was in a certain type of diet, like a low carb diet, or like just counting my calories, because I have been doing diets for 20 years. And that's why I like to say that, because it's the first time that I find something that really works for me. But yeah, that's the kind of the scenario, that we expect, for normal people. And it's just kind of weird, when we do not participate. It looks like we are being rude, but it's nice that they understand it well and they respect as well your choice. I think when you say that you have like a kind of an autoimmune issue or something like that, I think it's easier to know, because I think this is sometimes
Yeah.
is a big problem, for people like us that likes to have a special kind of diet or lifestyle. Whenever we are with friends or family or co-workers, we might end up in this situation like, oh, why are you not eating, or why are you not drinking? Come on, just today, like, that's kind of weird,
Mm.
but it's okay. I think it's normal.
Yeah, I have one little tiny story to share with my own friends. Last year was my 30th birthday, and they literally wanted to make me a meat cake with like bacon and like beef and stuff, and I was like, no, please, no, like, just get a normal cake that everybody can enjoy. But they like planned this whole party and they got all this food, like, for me specifically. It was super sweet. So that's just like one example I have of having like really great friends.
Amazing. Oh, I like the idea of the carnivore cake. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, but yeah, I think, I don't know. I also like to see that it's not like a prison. Like, I think once in a month, if we have like a kind of a party or like a social gathering, that we might be able to open a little bit. I think depends of each person, of course. If the person has like some health issues, then obviously it's better to not be as open as I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think once you get control of your choice, of your eating, of your um, like food addiction, like at least in myself and a lot of people have this food addiction. I think we are on control to open ourselves, like, because we cannot also like just close ourselves and avoid other types of social events, but yeah, in these 100 days, I can see there was like three 3 days maximum that I had to open my diet. But when I opened, it was more to a keto or a paleo style or like a low carb but that's just because it was like a special event where I could not commit to my diet because maybe there was no meat around, or there was very little, and I had to open a little bit. But apart from that, it's just easier to to follow it, right? Um,
Yeah, absolutely. In some cases, I mean, I've been at weddings and things like that, so I know what you mean. Sometimes, you have to just make the best of it. But that's what, like me and my fiance, when we do go to a wedding, we just get steak, and if it comes with some stuff on it, we just push it off. We figure it out.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my fiance also at the beginning she was not very happy with my decision because she's a doctor, so she was a kind of concerned, no, at the beginning, which is normal. No, most of the doctors are because they just learned something completely different in the medical school. But at the same time, like she's from Greece, so she follows the Mediterranean diet. So it's not like the American diet or the Brazilian diet, like as I grew up in Brazil. The Mediterranean diet has a lot of meat, salad, veggies, like olive oil, this kind of thing, cheese. So I think for her it's easier because she's already like a meat eater, but she has some salads, some veggies sometimes. That's it. So I think it was easier for her to understand. But now after 100 days, I would say that she's closer to being like fully carnivore. She includes some
Oh,
salads and
wow.
some veggies sometimes, but that's it. She doesn't like carbs. Like it was already her nature. But yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome.
And what about like your blood tests? Like, have you been following your blood tests before when you were vegan and now to compare them? Or,
I haven't. It's something that I have to go back and do. So I did go for quite a few years of not having health insurance here in the United States. So it is something I have to go back. Like I just like in the last year or so, like I've had like a job finally that I get health insurance through. So it is something I have to go and do. Uh, it's on my list of things to do, and I'll be sharing those results when I do get them. I actually will say, my fiance does. He goes to the doctor regularly, and he gets blood tests every 6 months. His doctor has been very shocked in a good way at his blood tests since we started this way of eating. Because he always tells my fiance, "There's literally nothing I can tell you to do to improve. Like they're perfect." He almost seems like he like doesn't believe his eyes. So I guess it just goes to show how much his blood tests have improved. But yeah, I have to do it for myself as well.
fantastic. Was him a vegetarian or vegan before? No.
He wasn't. He's always eaten the standard American diet. When we actually did start dating, it was when I was vegan. We were together for it was probably about 6 years when I was vegan. So he did we did eat a lot of the same food. So he wasn't fully vegan, but he was eating, I would say, a mostly vegan diet when I was vegan. And he gained weight during that time, and he wasn't really feeling good. I think that he also did have high cholesterol. I have my views about stuff like that have changed since then, but yeah, he definitely experienced some negative things when he was eating mostly vegan, but he was never fully vegan.
I see. Perfect. Um, so what about like your lifestyle when you were a vegan? Like were you exercising or were you like because normally when I speak with some people that I have a friend that is also vegan, I have a friend that is vegetarian, and that they feel very good about it, no, and that's good for them. I don't judge, I don't try to say that this is the best for you, for me. I like to try things on myself, and if I feel good, I just stick to it, and because I had a lot of issues with my health in the past and with weight. And because I've tried diets for like more than 20 years, I can say that this carnivore diet is something different. And that's why today I have a podcast and I'm talking about this. That's the only reason. But I am not judging the other people's
Hmm.
lifestyle. But so I'm curious about your lifestyle because some vegans that I know or vegetarians they are healthy because they have a healthy lifestyle in general, no, because someone, no, at least in the past, with the new generation, it's a little bit different. But in the past, if someone just becomes vegan, it's because they are already are interested about health, about nutrition, about well-being. You know what I mean? About exercising, and about like optimizing their health, and then they might evolve to like a vegan lifestyle because they believe it's healthier, but because they are already health in general, like maybe they do yoga, they do meditation, and they are health in general. So this optimizes their life, their life in general. So yeah, how was your experience like?
When I was vegan, so I became vegan when I was 13, and I would say throughout that time, my my workouts like evolved. Like when I started being vegan, I wasn't really too interested in working out, or I was just becoming health conscious. But I've never smoked. I've always I would say for a good majority of the time that I was vegan, I was I had a consistent workout routine, but I would say that would get to the point where I was over exercising as well. So, there was that. But I would say overall I did live a healthier lifestyle. Like I paid more attention to what I was eating, but I just didn't know enough back then. Like I limited processed foods, for example, when I was vegan, but I still ate them. Like now, I don't really see any situation where I would have processed foods. So I would say like I was definitely living a healthier lifestyle than say somebody on the standard American diet, but I think due to a bunch of different things, but malnutrition, my mental health, throughout that time, I was also over exercising. I was obsessed with counting calories because I found, if I didn't, I felt like I couldn't manage my weight. So, yeah, I would say like I was definitely more conscious of those things, but there were the negative aspects to that as well.
Yes, great. Yeah, because yeah, I just I s- to be honest, this is the first time that I'm speaking with someone that was vegan for such a long time. No, I spoke with someone before that was maybe like for 5 years, but now like 14 years, it's really a long time. So how many times were you eating before?
When I was vegan, I would wake up and want to eat the second that I woke up in the morning. So I would say there was never really a time that I didn't have breakfast. I would always have breakfast. I would eat so many little snacks throughout the day, and then I would eat my normal lunch and dinner usually. I mean, I have always gravitated more to be like a 2 meals a day type of person, but still, like, even if, say, I did have 2 meals as a vegan, I was having snacks throughout the day. I was having snacks, like, even if it more times than not, I was always paying attention to how much calories was in everything. So as long as it fit into my calories, I would eat it. Like, I didn't really care. And now in retrospect, I think back and I'm like, oh my God, what was that doing to my blood sugar? But whatever, we live and we learn. So I would say I was probably eating 5 6 times a day as a vegan, and now I don't necessarily promote this, but I sometimes do like OMAD. Like I can wake up and not want to eat for hours, and it's not because I'm trying to restrict. It's just it doesn't really even occur to me to eat, so I eat when I get hungry. It's been a total 180, and it's honestly been nice to not be thinking about food all the time.
Yeah, this lifestyle just makes our life easier, for many reasons, no. And one of them is definitely like not thinking about food the whole time, because I can see myself as well before this carnivore lifestyle. I was eating like 7 times per day, like
Yeah.
between lunches and breakfasts and dinner, like snacks and fruits and bars and smoothies, and it's just like crazy, like my blood sugar was also spiking the whole day, and I had to be drinking a lot of caffeine to compensate that, and I never had a blood sugar monitor, like I was never checking that. Now I'm constantly checking; it's always like stable. It's just like I wish I could have been checking it before to compare, but I could feel the difference because every time I was tired, every time I would eat something, I would feel crash, because of the
Mm.
spikes. and then I would think about having a fruit or having like something sweet to give me the energy that would make me crash again after a few minutes or after an hour, and then I would get a caffeine to get there, and then it would be just like a crazy snowball that never finishes, you know.
Yep.
It's just crazy. So now just having the benefit to not being in this, in this life anymore, and just like eating once or twice a day. I normally eat twice a day. Sometimes I do once a day when maybe I just eat a lot, and then I'm not hungry at all for like for a long time. So then I'm not able to eat again, and then yeah. But normally it's two times per day. So this is already something that it's like mind blowing for me. The satiety, the craving that I don't have anymore, that I always had my whole life, fighting with my cravings for sugar, for carbohydrates, for processed food, and it's just like insane.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so liberating, for, when you do start eating this way and you no longer are thinking about food all the time. So yeah, it's freed up so much of my like mental space for other things.
Especially because in the vegan world now it's so developed that you can have anything that you want that is vegan. You can have you have a huge variety, of food. Processed food like sugars, like breads, grains, like everything can be vegan. So that's easier to fall into this processed food, or sweets. You know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I made that mistake when I was vegan of thinking, well, as long as it doesn't have saturated fat and animal product protein or whatever, then it has to be healthy. Like that was my logic, which in retrospect, it was just so naive.
Yeah, yeah, that's good to know that because, like now, unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, but my brother decided to become more vegetarian. I think he's not vegan because he eats eggs and cheese sometimes. So he's trying to be vegetarian for his own conscience and for spiritual reasons. I don't know, somehow like he believes that to become more spiritual, he needs to stop eating meat.
Okay. I mean, I know what you mean as well because I don't try to knock anyone, and I think people have a misconception like when vegans find my content, they think that it's so like they take it so personally, but I don't. If what you're doing is working for you, more power to you. I don't have anything against that. And if that is working for him, then good for him. But I would be concerned down the road about you know the the same types of things that happen to me eventually.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to say as well. I'm also not trying to promote this kind of diet, but I also can see the benefits on myself. I think especially because I've always had to fight with weight and sugar cravings and food addiction. So I think the benefits are more powerful for me because now I don't have the cravings anymore. Now I feel the satiety. I can I can eat a good amount of food of meat that is delicious anyway, and 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 I don't get weight. I continue to lose weight. I have I just got the weight that I had when I was like 17, 16, and it's just crazy like how good it is. And then it's just yeah. I think especially at the beginner, you try to not convince you, but you try to tell everyone about the benefits, and then just people get tired to listen to you.
Yeah, it's I think really about them seeing your results and then they finally start to get curious and accept it. Like my friends too that I mentioned earlier, they saw my health in like and they even just in my appearance, they saw all of it. So I think that's another reason they were so open to it. But yeah, I completely relate. I think it does really take it takes a little bit of time, and then when people see how much better you are doing, then they start to get they they accept it or they get curious.
Perfect. Yes, I agree. Um, yeah, in my case, like I lost like 10 kilograms, nine. I lost like 10 centimeters of belly, which was a lot. Like I stopped having like dandruff that I had like for so many years, and I used to have to use a lot of shampoo to eliminate that. But after when when I had to stop using the shampoo, it would come back again. You know? So it was definitely coming from the food that I was eating. I don't know what, but it's something that I had my whole life, and then it just disappeared. You know, and that like, and I didn't even notice that after I think the first month I started to notice that I didn't have more than you know like, and then I just like, wow, that's amazing. You know, so yeah, some type of brain fog as well. Like my caffeine intake decreases like more than a half. I mean, yeah, more than like the sugar cravings, the carbohydrates cravings. I think this is also like huge, no? Like being able to control your hungry. Yeah, I think this is something that is magical, and I still like can't believe about that. Um, yeah, that's why I can't stop talking about this.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's been really nice as well on my end. I no longer even think about the amount of food I eat, and that used to be one of my biggest concerns. So it's super liberating.
Did you have like sugar cravings or carbohydrate cravings before?
I would say in the beginning, ironically, as a vegan, you by default have to eat pretty high carb, but I've never been too big of a sweets person, and that might have been what made it easier for me to transition to this way of eating because, I mean, I did it slowly, but I didn't go through a lot of the really bad cravings that I hear other people talk about. I've always been more of a, like, even as a kid, I really liked savory foods, so. I again, I don't remember having really bad cravings, but yeah, they've been there. But I think that just eating enough, doing the carnivore diet, it really helps to manage those cravings. As long as you're eating enough, especially I've talked to a lot of people that have different experiences with eating fat. Like I've heard some people say that they gained a lot of weight from it versus me, I've had the opposite experience. I eat high fat on a daily basis, and that's really the only thing that helps me manage cravings. So, eating enough fat for me at least, that also has made a huge difference.
Perfect. Yes, I feel the same thing. So, what type of food do you eat? Like, what is your routine like every day? Can you share it with us?
Yep. So I would estimate my diet is about 70% beef, whether that be steak. I love ribeye and New York strip. Unfortunately, that is not something that I can afford to eat at every meal. I wish, but I rely a lot on ground beef, like 80/20 ground beef. I do eat eggs occasionally, but I do find that they sometimes give me a little bit of digestive issues. So if I do eat eggs, it's maybe like once every 2 weeks. I eat a lot of salmon. I don't shy away from like seafood. I'll have salmon and shrimp mostly on a daily basis. And then other than that, I mean, I eat like every type of meat. Chicken. I don't eat too much pork, but I will make. I don't make too many recipes, but one of the recipes that I do make pretty frequently is carnivore chicken nuggets. So I use like pork panko when I make that. Um, I would recommend that as well for anybody that is transitioning because it's just yummy and it's like reminiscent of food, foods that most of us grew up eating. I do have coffee. So in the morning, I usually do start my day with coffee and I put animal fat in it. So I think that that probably lessens how, bad it actually is. I have also reduced my caffeine intake by about half. I would say I used to have, I don't know, like 5 cups of coffee a day. I now have one, and I've been slowly reducing the amount throughout the past couple of years. Other than that, I'm trying to think of if there is anything else that I really eat. I mean, every once in a while I will have avocado, like organic avocado. I have found that that doesn't really seem to give me issues. So it's not something that I'm going to push and have every day, but every once in a while I'll have that. Other than that, though, there's no plant food really that I do have. I mean, coffee and I would say avocado. Every once in a while, I'll have lemon juice as well. And I'm much more conscious now of where I'm getting those things and if they're organic. When I was, vegan, I didn't think about these things. I didn't care. I did care if it was organic. Like I had this basic understanding that it was better, but now I'm uh, very particular. Like I won't have an avocado if it's not organic because I don't want all the crappy pesticides and whatnot. So that's my normal diet. I don't really do seasonings either. I would say for the most part I just rely on just sea salt.
Perfect. Yes, I like it. Do you also have like organs?
Every once in a while I have liver. Usually we get grass-fed liver. I have had other organs every once in a while. I mean, before it was an issue of like getting them, I would have to order them online if I was to get them. But now there is a store that opened up pretty close to me that does have like kidney, heart. So every once in a while, it's not something I do have on a weekly basis, but I don't exclude them.
Perfect. And do you continue having like the bone broth?
Yeah, I love bone broth. I I do have bone broth actually pretty frequently. I make it myself, and then I also there's been like one brand from Wegmans that just has chicken, so I'll buy that. But otherwise, I'm also very particular about bone broth that I buy. Like I look at everything that's in it. So usually I do just make it myself. But yeah, I do have that pretty frequently. This is also worth mentioning. I do take a collagen supplement. I believe that the brand is Linear Provisions that I use. So I do like unflavored. But other than that as well, like I get the question of if I take supplements. I don't. I take the supplement because like why not get a little bit more collagen? But there's nothing else that I take on a daily basis.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think some parts of the animals are rich in collagen, so that's why I try to have them, like especially like the ox food. I don't know if you have tried. Um,
Ox foot. No, but I did actually just get oxtail to make bone broth. I haven't really used it yet, so I'm gonna try out a recipe with oxtail. But ox foot, I have to look into that now and get some.
yeah, it's very common in Brazil, but to be honest, I didn't like before when I was a kid. My grandma used to do that, and I never liked that. But recently, when I became more carnivore, I started to introduce it, and now I like it. It's quite uncommon, but it's very rich. I think, in my opinion, because I like to cook, is the parts of the animal, at least one of them, where I can find more collagen. Now, if you cook like in a, it's not difficult to do as well. This ox food, and it just becomes like pure collagen. The more you cook it, more because of the, I don't know how to say it in English. Sorry. Uh, yeah, it's because of some parts, some cartilage. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
So
cartilage.
yeah, because of
Cartilage, right?
the amount of cartilage in that parts of the ox food becomes pure collagen, and I just think it's amazing, and it's delicious as well, especially if you're carnivore.
Do you make bone broth with it, or do you actually you eat like a part of the ox foot?
So the ox foot, I never try to do a bone broth because it becomes like a pure collagen. If you put in the fridge,
Hmm.
it just can become like a gelatin. You know, so you can have like a bone broth as well if you warm it up. But I just like to have it as a gelatin. It's very similar to the chicken foot. No, if you ever tried
Okay.
to do the chicken foot, it also becomes like a pure collagen. No, um,
I'm in the process now of trying to make a better bone broth recipe, and I need to get chicken feet. That's the one thing. Maybe I'll get oxfoot instead. I'll probably have to order it
yeah,
because I can't find it at any store around me.
yeah. I think it's just like butchers or like some butchers that are not normal store for sure. I would say like more butchers and international shops. You might find it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure they do. You said you live in New York, no? I'm sure they have like a Brazilian butcher in New York because they have Brazilian butchers everywhere in the world. So I
I have to look. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was trying to look for Asian grocery stores, which were I thought there were a few around me, and then I looked, and lo and behold, they're like they just sell like Asian, uh, like processed foods and stuff. Like not what I was looking for.
Well, but
So I
anyway,
have
I'm
to
sure
look.
today we have a lot of options with online butchers as well that are makes just our life is easier. Now, to be honest, I'm making most of my orders online as well, but sometimes I like walking to the butcher.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I like the experience of going into the store, but if I
Yeah.
have to order it online, I will.
It's funny because I always like to cook. I don't know if you saw my Instagram, but it's all about cooking. It's like I've been 10 years working in the food industry, creating content. But now that I've changed completely my life to this carnivore lifestyle, just like limited the amounts of food brands that I can work with. So now I'm just my focus is 100% for animal-based products and animal, like more butchers and more, yeah, any types that has animal-based food. So, but it's interesting how we develop our knowledge about meat and about the animals in general. No, not only beef increases. No, I don't know if you can relate, but
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, since you said that our knowledge of
yeah,
like cooking beef
yeah.
increases. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially coming from being vegan, I feel like I still have a lot to learn because I stick to a lot of the same foods on a daily basis. But yeah, absolutely. I've learned a lot about cooking beef in different ways, or other types of animal foods as well.
Yeah, it's because I understand that like this lifestyle makes our life easier, so we can just like I don't know, if you're in a rush, you can just put some meat in the air fryer and it's ready, you know. But because my background is cooking, I also like to explore like barbecues. Like the world of barbecue is huge, and we can do like such amazing food in the barbecue. But I know it's not for everyone that have time, to go to the garden and do barbecue. We have to work, we have to live our lives, but especially in New York or like me that live in London as well. Um, but still, like I like exploring it, and yeah, I just started a new series on my Instagram that is about barbecue. It's gonna be like almost 90 days just posting barbecue videos and cooking all types of meats and animals in all different ways. Yeah, just to mention. But yeah, amazing. I think yeah. Did you see any change in your family or friends that are closer to you that are seeing, that can see your benefits and that also decided to change their lifestyle?
Yeah, I wish that my parents would be open to doing the carnivore diet. They respect what it's done for me, especially because seeing me go through all those health issues for so many years, they're happy about it, but I don't think they are going to try it. But my fiance's parents have definitely, they're not in any way carnivore, but they have definitely changed the products that they use. Like my fiance got his mom to stop using like the coffee creamer that has like oils in it and stuff. Like now she just uses, I think, half and half. So he got her to really think about what's in that. His dad also has definitely taken a lot of stuff out of his diet, but he's not doing carnivore. His dad actually knows other people that do the carnivore diet though, so he can see between us and then his friends that he knows, he can see how much it works. So he's cleaned up his diet a lot. I do. So one of my best friends, one of her family members, who I've met and spoken to a few times, he actually is doing a paleo diet, and comes from a past of being diabetic. So he started following my account, and he's not, as far as I know, he's not doing carnivore, but he got really serious and like I think gave all of his junk food to her. So I'm waiting to hear an update on it. But yeah, I've had a few people who I've definitely set a good example for.
Fantastic. That's good to know. Um, yeah, amazing. Is there like any book or like podcast or person that you like that inspires you about this carnivore lifestyle that you would like to share with us?
I would say the biggest influence that I've had since starting carnivore has been Steak and Butter Gal. Do you know who she is?
Yes,
Okay, yeah,
I know.
she's awesome. I was on her podcast like a while, a while back when I started the
Amazing.
carnivore diet. Yeah, she's super sweet, but she was the one really who I found her content and I was like mind blown. Like everything that I thought these preconceived beliefs that I had about meat, she just could turn them all, one did a 180 for me for all of those things. She has beautiful skin. She's like thriving. Like she's improved so many health issues. So she really, when I found her content, I was like, okay, there's something to this. I know some people just think it's all a lie, but it's not because I've lived it. Other than that, I mean, shout out to all the carnivore doctors. They also early on, seeing like people like Anthony Chafee, Ken Berry, Sean Baker, seeing their perspective on these things gave me a lot of confidence that it's not, just again like a fad diet. And then other than that, in terms of cooking, like I know you were saying that you've come from a background of working in the food industry. Do you know who Courtney Luna is? She's definitely worth checking out. She just published a cookbook, I believe, last year, and it's called I believe Carnivore in the Kitchen. Cookbook did amazing. I have the cookbook, and I always tell people it's the one cookbook I keep in my kitchen because it goes over how to cook. I think basically any type of meat, and then it has like a lot of fun recipes in it that stick to carnivore. She also came from a background of being a chef, so it's just I would say for you would probably be an interesting perspective, and she makes content too. Those are my, I think, biggest influences.
Amazing. What's her name again?
Courtney Luna. I think her username is It's Courtney Luna on Instagram.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll have a look into that for sure. Because yeah, because it's been only like 3 months and a few days, I still like looking for new ways how to transition my all my work that I have been doing with the food industry in UK to like to this new lifestyle, and that would be great to look into her content as well. Um, awesome. So uh, I would like to ask as well because when we think about the vegan agenda and I always believe that it's like young girls, especially when you started, you say with 13 years old, like they are easier to target, no? Like, especially because
Yes.
you're not looking to, I don't know, maybe to lose weight or just to, but like, I think you became more conscious about animals and also health conscious as well. So how do you see this, no?
It is it's something that I'm concerned about, and if the question is how the effect that things like veganism and the current worldview of of animal products and saturated fat, what that does to young girls, it's concerning. I do think that the recent trends with the carnivore diet, because in my opinion it's been getting bigger. There's much more awareness around it, and I think we also just see a trend as well of people no longer being as afraid to have red meat. Like I think that that's starting to be seen for the myth that it is. So that's good, but I mean that's why I make content, because I think about how impressionable I was when I was a teenager, and if only I could speak to myself back then, I would have never become vegan if I knew the whole trajectory of what would happen for the next 10 years. So it's concerning, but we can all only we can all only use our own voices to spread awareness. I don't really know what else we can do, but that's also why the documentary Animal, like I think that that's great that that came out, and hopefully we see more of those documentaries like that come out. I don't necessarily know if the target audience is going to be young girls, but I suppose that shows a really a need that needs to be fulfilled, where this message does need to reach young girls, because I mean, I know in the future if I have a daughter and she starts going down that path, I would not be happy about it. I'd use my own story as a reason to discourage her. So yeah, it's concerning, but I think we're going in the right direction.
Lovely. Yeah, great. I've heard about this documentary Animal. I think it's on YouTube, right? Or it's somewhere else.
It's on Prime Video. I know that because I bought it on Prime. I
Okay.
I don't think it's on Netflix. Uh,
Right.
I think it just went international though, so it should, you're in London, you said, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you should definitely be able to watch it, but the one place that I know that it is Prime.
Okay, great. Because I see a few influencers talking about it on YouTube. That's why I thought it was on YouTube, but I will look into Prime and I will watch it as soon as possible. Um, Amazing. So, Josie, you said that you put animal fats in your coffee.
I do, yeah. I hate eating beef tallow by itself. I need to figure out a way, like I've seen people make like carnivore chocolates, like they freeze beef tallow and like put some like I've seen people put like toasted gelatin I think in it and stuff. I have to try that. I haven't yet. But because I don't have another way of adding more fat to my diet besides like just putting it on my food, I do that also. I will put melted beef tallow in my coffee and ghee. I think I am lactose intolerant, so I'll do a little bit of beef tallow, like a tablespoon of beef tallow, and then a tablespoon of ghee. And I put a little bit of sea salt usually, and some collagen powder, and I think it's really good. And it's a good way for me to get more fat in my diet.
Nice. Yeah, I've never thought about putting the tallow on my coffee, but interesting. I normally put butter or ghee. Yeah, that's what I normally put. Sometimes I put coconut oil just because it has saturated fat, but I prefer the ghee because it's more animal based. But interesting that you said about the tallow. I also don't like very much the taste of tallow itself, but I use it a lot to cook, especially eggs or any type of meat. Um, yeah, today actually I bought like 1 kilogram of fat, just like fat from beef, very cheap. And I'm gonna try for the first time to do my own homemade tallow, which is I don't think is difficult as well. Um, it looks very easy.
What did you buy? Suet? Is that what it's called?
It's like just beef fat from the butcher.
Okay.
So
That's a great idea. I should
yeah,
do
because
that.
basically the butchers they normally they bin a lot of fat, because a lot of meat comes with so much fat they most of them they cannot sell with all that amount of fat, so they have to trim the meats to have less fat, to the final customer. So normally they have nothing to do with the fat. So normally some places might even give you for free, or they might sell it for a very good price. And at least it's homemade and it's just with 1 kilogram of fat. I think you can do like almost, I don't know. To be honest, I've never tried, but I guess at least like 700 ml or 800 ml of beef tallow that can stay in the fridge for months.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that because yeah, beef tallow also gets expensive.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I bought very cheap this beef fats. But again, no, some butchers might give you for free because they literally put it in the bin. So um, amazing. So, yeah, we are almost like an hour of conversation here, but I would like to ask you, I mean, to ask you for a recommendation for the people that might be watching this video and they want to start the carnivore diet, or maybe they are in the same situation that you were before. They are vegan, but they are watching this the appointments from you that were an ex-vegan.
I would say just first of all, be really clear about what the carnivore diet is because I know that a lot of people have this misconception that it's just including animal products in your diet. So you need that understanding first that it is eating like it's essentially an elimination diet of just eating animal products uh, to really pinpoint what could be giving you issues. After that, I think that the best perspective with the carnivore diet to have is just try it for 30 days and see what happens. But give it like an earnest try. Like do it to the T so that you can actually see the benefits that it might give you. Because I think for I want to say at least 90% of people, if you try it for 30 days, you will see profound benefits. And, again, 30 days isn't that big of a commitment. So if you're thinking about it, just give it a couple of weeks and see how much your well-being improves.
Fabulous. Yeah, I agree. I think 30 days is a good time for people to see the benefits and, never think about, living this type of lifestyle again because it's just amazing and it's delicious at the same time. And yeah, great. Yeah, so before we finish, I would like to ask about your skincare because your skin is actually looking very good in the video. Like, do you use any type of animal fats for your skincare? Because the reason I'm asking is because I'm getting more and more curious about this word, and I'm about to buy some beef tallow or some kind of tallow skincare.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just use beef tallow. So actually, there's a brand. I do have an affiliateship with them, but I've been using them since before I was an affiliate. They're called Noahic Balm, and I get a scent from them called Nourish. And I do have really sensitive skin. I have my whole life. Going carnivore didn't change that. If anything, my skin got more sensitive when I went carnivore. So they have a scent called Nourish, and it's just grass-fed beef tallow and emu oil. So it is fully animal based, like fully animal fat. If I didn't use that, because I do use that on my skin like twice a day usually, I would just use beef tallow. Or what I have also found is that duck fat. I like the I guess you could say the texture of duck fat or the consistency because it's much more liquid. So I've actually experimented with mixing beef tallow and duck fat. And, I use that as well on my skin because the beef tallow solidifies it a little bit more. So, yeah, I would say beef tallow uh, and emu oil. That's what I actually do use on a daily basis. But I also use just plain beef tallow. I use duck fat every once in a while. And the one other thing that I do use, and I can't say how much of a difference it's made, but I use snail mucin pads. So I guess snail mucin, it's an ingredient from snails. I think it's like very collagen rich. I honestly don't know that much about it, but there are these pads that I put on my under eyes, and I think it's made a little bit of a difference. Um, Other than that, I don't really do anything crazy. Like, that's really my whole skincare routine. I use those pads like maybe once a week, and then other than that, I just put beef tallow on my skin. I've also like I'm wearing a little bit of makeup today, but I've really stopped putting like I don't like putting foundations and stuff on my skin anymore because now when I look at my skin with the foundation on it, it just like I don't know, it just looks very unnatural and I don't like it, which is something I never thought I would say. Like I used to be a person who felt like I couldn't leave the house without wearing a full face of makeup. So yeah, that's also been something that I've completely simplified, and it all revolves around beef tallow. That's the one thing that I use on my skin twice a day, like guaranteed.
Well, that is nice that you thought about. I mean, you spoke about it because yeah, since I started this diet as well, I started to change everything. Like my body shower, my deodorants, my toothpaste, my everything. My shampoo. Like I started to question everything. And I think it
Yeah.
happens with most of us because we started to remove things, the excess, of our lives. And yeah, and like my fiance introduced me to this skincare routine, like washing my face every morning and every night, and putting hydration, and putting I forgot the names, but so many stuff like that I never used it before. But now in this carnivore diets, first I can see that because of the high cholesterol and because the amount of saturated fats that I eat, I don't see more skin problems that I used to have, like with acne. I so I decreased a lot my skincare, and I'm looking for something more like beef tallow stuff to use like as a hydration. Like yeah, I can see myself that I don't burn in the sun anymore, even if I'm Brazilian. But I always had to put a lot of sun cream when I'm on holidays. Like I was in Greece um, last 2 weeks ago, and I was like almost like 35 degrees, and I didn't burn at all. I was like for the first time I didn't put any sun cream and any hydration cream. and I managed to stay for like 10 days in the sun. Like this also blowed my mind, and I need to say about that because I've always put a lot of sun cream and a lot of hydration cream after, you know, and this is already like
Yeah.
what?
I've found for me, I mean, I've never considered myself super pale, but I'm pretty pale. I do find that I need to ease into it in the summer, but I don't get, like, I might get like a slight burn, but it heals in like 2 days. And it's really just like like my skin looks like I don't know what the word is, like sun kissed, I guess. Like I don't burn like that anymore, but I found I do need to ease into it. Like I've heard, like that's amazing that you don't burn anymore, but I will get a little bit. So, I'm not going out and sitting out in the sun for 5 hours. Like I'll ease into it in the summer.
Yeah, I do abuse it sometimes. I know because I love this the sun. I love getting, especially because living in London, like I don't have it that much. So when I go abroad, I just go crazy and stay as much as I can. But so before I used to stay like a few hours, and then I would put like the sun cream, and then I would stay a lot of times, and then I would apply hydration cream constantly. Like I would come back to London, and I would be applying um, hydration cream for like at least 10 days after coming back from the holiday. And for the first time, I didn't apply anything. And of course, I will get red a little bit if I stay for hours in the sun, like in the Mediterranean. But that red will disappear like in the next day. Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
something that would make me very sore or my skin would start to peel. No, it's just like. And before I used to peel a lot if I abuse in the sun. So that because my skin was probably full of inflammation, and now it's not, and it's been only 100 days.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. I will say my skin now is it like the hydration of my skin, I don't even think about it, but I used to have very dry skin especially when I was vegan. My skin would crack and stuff, and my hands were super dry when I was vegan. So, that's been another benefit that I didn't even think to mention when I was talking about them.
Amazing. I used to suffer of dry hands as well a lot, to the point that it would even like create some small blisters because of the amount of dry that I had in my hands before. And now I can feel a little bit better. It's not 100% yet for some reason, but of course, like I've been eating a very poor diet for like 30 years in my life, so I don't expect for this to just like heal, like or get better like in 3 months. No, I think it can take longer, but I already feel the difference. And so yeah, regarding the skincare with the tallow and everything, do you like it? Do you recommend it? Because I didn't buy it yet, but I'm curious. I'm about to buy it. But what about the smell? I think that's my main concern.
There's really no smell. I understand what you're saying. It's something that, if I think back to when I was vegan and somebody told me in 5 years you're going to be putting beef fat on your skin, I would have like gagged. But it's once you do it, it's really not it like I just think of it as normal skin cream. It doesn't have a smell to me. But the brand, for example, I know this goes for every tallow balm brand. They have scents, and the scents. I mean, the brand I mentioned, Noahic Balm, they have scents that smell amazing. Like they have there's only one ingredient that adds the scent. Like I guess an essential oil, or I think that is what it is, an essential oil. But they have like an orange scent. They have a vanilla scent. I do use those like occasionally on, usually like just as like chapstick or on my hands. But if you want something scented, I think that there's a lot to choose from, like a lot of great brands that sell bombs that they smell great and they don't have, a lot of yucky stuff in them.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm gonna get some for sure very soon. And yeah, amazing. Or maybe I can do it homemade as well because now I have a lot of beef fat in my fridge. Let's see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's easy to do like also the hydration cream or the balm. But anyway, yeah, fantastic. So what about your Instagram? I see you create a lot of content, for sharing your experience. Like, what's the goal about it? Like, like, yeah.
Really just spreading awareness. So right now I do work full time, so I try to balance those two things. There is I can't say too much, but I'm a writer, so there is a book in the works. I don't have much details about that right now, but really just spreading awareness. And I also do make YouTube videos. They are more far between than on Instagram. Like really on Instagram, whenever I have a thought about a topic, I'll just make a video quickly. But my YouTube channel is a little bit more focused. But I do need to get more serious about YouTube. But right now, that's the goal, really, just to spread awareness, especially for younger women. And it is kind of hard to reach that audience, but that's, I guess you could say, my main goal. Especially because of trends like Ozempic, and like I feel like anti-aging, especially for younger generations, like the cosmetic surgeries that younger girls are getting now are crazy. So that's my goal, I would say, is to reach that audience. I don't know how much I've done that so far, but that's why I continue to make content and continue to talk about these things.
Fantastic. Yes, please keep doing it. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel as well. I will definitely have a look after them. And yeah, amazing. So, yeah, fantastic, Josie. I think we've been already more than an hour here, but I will definitely. So, yeah, how people can find you on Instagram and YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, my username is the Plant Eater, and then on YouTube as well, my username is the same thing, the Plant Eater. Those are the main platforms that I use. I haven't really branched out to anything else just yet.
Amazing. Yes. Well, so then thank you very much, Josie, for your time here. It was lovely to meet you and to talk with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was lovely talking to you too, and I appreciate you inviting me onto the podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you. So yes, I will leave all the details for you to find Josie below in the description of this video. And yeah, thank you very much for being with us today.